Tusky Magic might be for real. The Utah Mammoth are 4-0 since unveiling their big, blue, beautiful mascot. What do we think about this? How should they proceed with a road trip ahead? Should Tusky go with them? Plus, is Nick Schmaltz the hottest guy in hockey? I say maybe. All coming up on SLC Puck. Cue the music. Here we go. Be doing, but I go to your podcast, this person continued, because it's the most fun. And I appreciate that. I think that's a huge compliment. I know I do the podcast because it's fun. I am wearing a Harry Potter costume this evening. Speaking to you guys on October 22nd. We do costumes the entire month of October just for fun. I don't know if you knew this. Halloween's in October. It's kind of a big holiday around here in the Facer household. But I'm also wearing a costume. And this particular costume has a very specific reason. It's because I'm starting to believe in magic. And not just any magic. I'm talking about Tusky Magic. That furry little critter has something special to him. We're going to talk about that more in just a second. And I'm going to lay out like an interesting strategy that I think the team should pursue as they embark on a big road trip that's coming up. It's a very spooky road trip. I wrote about this. Yes, I write too. I'm really a triple threat. I podcast, I write, and I wear stupid costumes. That's the triple threat everybody's after. But I want to remind you guys really quick that this show and all its fun costumes and all the hijinks is supported by viewers like you. And a great way to do that, guys, is to head over to bigtuskenergy.com or slcpuck.shop. Grab yourself a hat, a t-shirt, a hoodie, a beanie, a blankie, whatever you need, right, to let people know exactly what you're packing. And you're packing Big Tusk Energy, I know it. And I think that's exactly, in a way, what the Utah Mammoth should do. They should pack something with a big tusk, 2 big tusks to be exact, for the big road trip coming up. Obviously, the big news coming out of the game was just the excitement level that came out of last night's game against the Colorado Avalanche, a 4-3 overtime victory that included a game-winning goal by, stop me if you've heard this before, Dylan Guenther once again. And the place was rocking. It was awesome. We were sitting up in the single goal view seats up there in the upper bowl, and we could see the rafters shaking throughout the game. Really, I mean, that game against Colorado, those games against Colorado, I should say, are really shaping up to be probably a very fun rivalry, the regional rivalry. The players are buying into it. It was on national television as well. The Delta Center looked awesome. They added the new light up pucks on the stair rails, just to kind of give the look a little more zhuzh for national TV. Ryan Smith appeared on the ESPN broadcast and was, as fortune would have it, he's the most charmed individual in the world, it seems. It just happened to be on camera as the Mammoth scored a goal. So that was a pretty remarkable moment that we saw during the broadcast. But so many remarkable moments filled this game. I think we saw just about everything you would want to see out of this kind of matchup. We saw Colorado's star players do a lot of their thing, drive a lot of the game for them. We saw Utah respond in some big moments. Colorado definitely gave them some help. I'd have to check the box score again, but I am under the assumption that Utah played on the man advantage a lot more than Colorado did in that game. We saw a big goal by Cale Makar, and that one was kind of a weird one. I was trying to watch the replay over and over again because if you watch it, like, Karel Vejmelka looks like he's glitching a little bit during that one. Like, he literally doesn't see it until it hits the back of the net. Cale Makar has probably the best wrist shot from a defenseman maybe ever. But this one just blew right by him. Didn't even see it. I think there was a lot of traffic in front of the net. That might have been part of it. But, I always kind of get a kick out of seeing, the star players that come in, do well in front of us. And then to beat them despite that feels doubly good. But I think we saw like a team that was really, really committed to the moment in the Utah Mammoth. Goals by Nick Schmaltz, who might be the hottest player in the NHL right now. Certainly the hottest player on this team. And I'm not talking about his looks, although he is very handsome. He has a certain ruggedness. He has great hair. I think his beard is looking good. I think he's one of the more snappy dressers on the team. And that's saying something because there are a lot of guys on the team who dress pretty well. Clayton Keller's one of them. Dylan Gunther, I think, has some style. Mikhail Sergachev. And we've also seen some big fits out of the rookie Dmitry Shimashev. So, but I think Schmaltz holds his own in terms of the entry fits. I think he kind of likes to layer the jackets a lot, which I appreciate. And I think his beard works really well. He's kind of just got that again, rugged look. Apparently he's a big fisherman. He's from Wisconsin. That's his thing. And I think it all kind of comes together in a really aesthetically pleasing way. Enough on that. But we also saw goals by Mikhail Sergachev, and he was psyched out of his mind. He scored his first goal of the season, was completely fired up. It was a fun Sergey moment. Sometimes we get angry Sergey. Sometimes we get emotionless Sergey. Sometimes we get Sergey flipping off the camera as he walks into the locker room after a loss. This one we got elated Sergey. He was completely jubilated. It was as if he had gone outside to his chicken coop and had found a bountiful harvest of eggs, which he can then make Dmitry Shimashev bring into the home for him. So that was fun to see. But obviously, like the highlight moment was the Utah Mammoth scoring 33 seconds into overtime. Kevin Stenlin wins that big face-off that he's tasked with doing every time Utah finds itself in 3-on-3 overtime. Utah wins the draw, and what's his name? Dylan Gunther, the guy who freaking scored, the Costco guy, scores on a beautiful pass from Clayton Keller. Gunther kind of was trying to get it on his forehand and then swung around and popped it in on his backhand. Utah wins 4-3. The place goes crazy. But you know what's interesting is I really think there's a world where Utah wins this game 3-2 because Marty Necas's goal on Karel Vejmelka that went in off his face mask and went into the tiniest little window of net that I've ever seen was just an astounding shot. Like literally, like the thing that they do at intermissions sometimes where they're like, okay, idiot with a hockey stick who's never held a hockey stick before, try to pass or shoot the puck from center ice into this little slot that we put in front of the net. And if you do so, you win a car or something. It was that small. Marty Necas would have won the car for sure. If it had been put in that corner, it was just an unreal shot. And that's really interesting to think, right? Like imagine believing that the Utah Mammoth, and again, let's just say, let's give Necas his flowers. That was a great goal, so let's count it. Over 2 games with the Colorado Avalanche, the Mammoth have lost one 2-1 and won another 4-3. They've only allowed 5 goals in 2 games to the Colorado Avalanche, one of the most potent offensive teams in the NHL. I think that's a recipe for success. I think you can look at a lot of the metrics that are happening in the hockey world. In fact, let's just pull some up right now. Let's go to our good friend Puckovision, which is where we find all of our fun stats. Let's just pull up some power rankings here. Let's see. Utah right now finds itself 13th, right? But we have 2 team stats here. And if we go here, expected goals against, that just kind of tells us a little bit about the goaltending. Utah has an expected goals against of 13. It looks like it's about 13.61. Their actual goals against just 9. So they're up 4. They're doing much better than would be expected by an average defense, right? But I was sort of glancing at this a little bit, and I think one of the really incredible takeaways I saw, and if I can't pull it up quickly, I'm going to have to just rely on my own memory. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I believe they are among the league leaders in shots on goal, fewest shots on goal against. Yeah, they've allowed just 124 shots on goal in 7 games. I did the math on this earlier. That comes out to just like 23 shots on goal per game, which is pretty dang good. I think we typically see averages in like the 30s or so. And as you can see, I had to scroll all the way down to find them. They're definitely in that upper echelon of teams. Veggie's not the only one who's been stopping a lot of rubber. I think the team has been blocking a lot of shots. I think they've been possessing the puck for a great deal of time. On 5-on-5, they have been spectacular. I'm really been encouraged by a lot of the guys on defense. Mikhail Sergachev, obviously one of them. But I think like you can also look at John Marino's play as being very strong. He almost scored a goal against Boston the other night. Liam O'Brien skated through the crease, unfortunately, just before it went in, so they disallowed it. But I think his skating has looked like it's made a huge jump in this last offseason. And let's not forget, he started last season on the injured reserve. So, I think when we finally got to see John Marino, he was still working his way into shape as the season was going on, which is probably a pretty difficult thing to do, I would imagine. I've never played in the NHL. They continue to look me over year after year, and I really don't get it. I don't know if it's the fact that maybe I'm on the wrong end of 30. Maybe it's the fact that I was really never that good in my prime. Maybe it's the fact that I took 15 years off between playing competitive hockey games. I don't know what it is, but the NHL continues to overlook me. I'm telling you, they're going to really regret it in 2034 when I'm suiting up for Team USA right here in the Salt Lake Winter Olympics. Get your tickets now, folks. That'll be a lot of fun. But this team, it's such an exciting moment. This was a great 4-game homestand to begin the year. I was listening to Adrian Denny on the way home, and he noted that Utah only had one 4-game winning streak all of last season. They've already got that notch in their belt already. And here's another interesting nugget from Adrian Denny that I learned listening to him on the radio. And by the way, you should do that. And when Adrian asks you to honk twice, do it wherever you are. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're alone on the freeway. Doesn't matter if you're on a crowded freeway. Doesn't matter if you're in a drive-through. It doesn't matter if you're in your neighbor's driveway. Hey guys, real quick, just want to say if any of you have lost your hat because you threw it onto the ice after Nick Schmaltz's hat trick the other night, I know the place to go to get a new hat. I got to get one of these myself. I threw my lid onto the ice the other night. I'm going to go to BigTuskEnergy.com to get me a new hat. The Big Tusk Energy Utah hockey-inspired snapback. This guy right here. It's got the script logo. It's got the SLC Puck branding on the back and a little woolly creature on the side. This is a great way to go. It's a great way to show your Utah hockey love and to let everybody else know what you're packing at the same time. Big Tusk Energy merch is a great way to support SLC Puck. Lots of great stuff here as well. Hats, t-shirts, beanies, blankets, and all the original fun from the SLC Puck collection as well. So head to slcpuck.shop or bigtuskenergy.com. Great way to support the show. Now let's get back to it. Just honk twice. AD has a good thing going there. But he noted that Utah is the only team in the NHL to not surrender 4 goals in a game. All their games they've allowed 3 goals or less. I know I butchered that. Adrian pulled that great stat. I said it very clunkily, but hey, that's what we do here at SLC Puck. It's part of the fun. So I think you can really say that right now Utah is playing defense at an elite level, and a lot of the guys on offense are carrying them right now. Nick Schmaltz, to say the least, is probably the hottest player on this team. Again, that's not a reflection on his looks, but it also kind of is, right? Let's go here to the team stats on Pucko Vision. Oh, there's Sam Cam. See, that wasn't going. See, we make little boo-boos here. There it is, Pucko Vision. So you can see here, through 7 games, Nick Schmaltz leads the team in goals with 4, in points with 10, has a +2 on the ice, just 2 penalty minutes. He's among the leaders on, I have the hiccups here, the offense on time on ice. Shooting percentage, about 15%. All really, really, really strong metrics. Clayton Keller, not far behind, second on the team in points right now with 9, 2 goals, 7 assists. Typical Clayton Keller stat line, I think. Certainly has more to give in terms of goals. Oh, I made a boo-boo there. Dylan Gunther is actually tied with Nick Schmaltz for 4 goals. I should have known that. That guy's been scoring goals like crazy. He's got 2 assists to complement it with 6 points. Again, has been shooting the puck at a blistering rate. 16% is really incredible. I believe like the average shooting percentage is like 11. If you're anything above like 11%, 12%, then you're a pretty dang good shooter. We already knew this about Dylan Guenther. JJ Peterka's been rock solid as well. A couple goals, couple assists, 4 points, right? I think if they can get him into that 50, 60 point territory, that would be a huge win. I think his defensive play has been really good as well. I think he's shown a lot with his stick on the defensive end. I mean, there's just a lot to like about what's happening in Utah. I mean, let me just read a text that I got here from a listener today, just hours after the Utah Mammoth's victory over the Colorado Avalanche. And I think it really embodies the feeling that's emanating throughout the fan base here. Quote from our great listener here: "The game hangover is real. Couldn't go to sleep last night. Still reveling this morning. This team is different. Something special is brewing. A perfect storm. It feels like magic, I think you might say." And again, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. And I do believe that there is a way we can continue our winning ways. I think it's interesting to note that the Utah Mammoth are now 4-0 in the Tusky era. That's been all over the news waves. You can see here, Bleacher Report, Open Ice here tweeted that the Mammoth are now 4-0 in the Tusky era. Are you not entertained? We're very entertained. Tusky rocks, and I don't. Tusky's not on the ice while the puck's in play, but I have to believe that something about what this furry little fella is doing, and he's 6'5", he's not that little, is helping this team win. It's the big Tusk energy that is radiating throughout the arena from Tusky. And here's kind of where we might see something challenging ahead for the Utah Mammoth. I wrote this on slcpuck.com. It's now spooky season. One game into spooky season, right? I mean, it's a murderer's row lineup to finish October with the Colorado Avalanche last night. They get the dub. Tomorrow, Thursday, they're taking on the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. After that, they head to Minnesota to play the Wild on Saturday. Then I believe they have the Jets the next day on Sunday, and then they finish off the road trip with a visit to Edmonton to play the Oilers. So that's a really tough stretch for Utah to finish off October. I said last episode, if they can get out of this road trip with 5 or 6 points, that'd be a huge victory for this team. In a literal sense and in a moral sense, I think that would be a huge accomplishment. By the way, if you want to read some fun writing, you can go to slcpuck.com. And I should note, I still am doing the giveaway, the big Stick in It Gloves giveaway, where I'm giving away a pair of Nick Schmaltz's gloves and one of his sticks. Yes, I have them, to a lucky subscriber. All you have to do is subscribe. Content's all free. Goes straight to your inbox. I mean, frick, you want a stick and glove from the hottest guy in hockey? Come to me. I'll help you out. I'll hook it up. All right? I mean, I can't promise you'll win, but if you don't enter, you have no chance, right? And it's easy. I'm not asking much out of you. Just do it, folks. But anyway, it becomes a little bit trickier now because they're headed on the road. And as you may or may not know, teams usually do not bring their mascots on the road with them. They are not usually permitted into the other team's arena. However, I do think there's a workaround, and it would take a big buy-in from everyone at the organizational level. I'm not aware of a rule that would prevent this, but if Tusky is on the roster, why would he not be allowed to sit on the bench with the team? He would take someone's spot, but clearly something that Tusky does is helping the team win. I think that would be a very good use of a roster spot, and I think someone could perhaps maybe be gracious enough to allow this. I mean, let's just look at the most recent game here, the win over Colorado. Hey guys, that Nick Schmaltz guy, he's pretty good, huh? He's got some magic going on with his stick, huh? And I bet those mitts have some silkiness to them. Well, if you want to find out for yourself what you can do to score yourself a Nick Schmaltz stick and a pair of his gloves, head to slcpuck.com, subscribe for free, puts all my content right in your inbox. No filler, no junk, no crap, just killer stuff every time we publish the goods here at SLC Puck. Again, head to slcpuck.com, subscribe for free. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, someone's going to skate away with a few killer pieces of team history, some gloves, a stick from Nick Schmaltz, who, by the way, is not involved with this promotion. Neither is the Utah Hockey Club. Just saying that for legal reasons. But get to Utah, get the Utah hockey content straight in your inbox by heading over to slcpuck.com, subscribing, entering the giveaway. Now let's get back to the show. Let's just see who is in the lineup here. And yeah, I mean, Jack McBain is now injured. We saw him leave the game with some kind of injury. You might say, hey, we need to get another center in the lineup to play against the Blues. I propose we just put Tusky out there, and maybe he can take a shift or two on the penalty kill. I mean, we have to, he's a good skater. We saw him break out of a block of ice and take the sheet, take the ice at the Delta Center. It's just it's not the worst idea. And again, I'm not aware of any rules that would make this impossible, but I just think it's something Bill Armstrong and Andre Tourigny should keep in mind. And that's just me, right? But again, the road trip ahead is daunting. It's tough. All of these teams were in the playoffs last year out of the Western Conference. So these are critical games for the Utah Mammoth, particularly, and I want to make sure I got all the syllables in there, the games against St. Louis, Minnesota, and Winnipeg, because they're Central Division foes. So those points become particularly important. And lest we not forget, if Utah wants to get out of that wild card spot, and I think that would be more assuring, I think, to be in a good place, right? Those are a couple of those teams are teams they'll have to jump and stay ahead of throughout the season. So getting these points now will be incredibly critical. And, even though they're not in the same division as the Oilers, that's a team that could play in the playoffs. And those are points to be had in what could be a very tight race down the stretch. So this road trip's spooky, but I feel like the Mammoth are up for the task, especially if they suit Tusky up on the bench. So again, just something to bear in mind. It's been kind of an exciting time, though. I think we're seeing a lot of excitement here in Utah. It's opening night for the Utah Jazz. They're playing right now as I record, and I think they're kicking the Los Angeles Clippers' butt right now at home. Let me just get you a fresh score update here, which will be meaningless by the time this is uploaded. But right now, coming down to the end of the third quarter, the Jazz are up 103-71 on the Los Angeles Clippers. What the heck is going on with our sports teams here in Utah? This is pretty wild stuff. I saw they had like a pretty awesome plaza party. I think they did a jersey exchange where you could bring in your old crappy, yellow jersey and get one of the slick new mountain basketball jerseys, with the purple and all the stylized font and sort of the futuristic yet retro look that they've been rolling out. I mean, it looked like a vibe. I think people were starting to line up at like 8 a.m. to do this, and it looked like they were giving out hundreds of jerseys. They were like the legit jerseys too. They weren't like some cheap, giveaway. They were like the legit like $100 plus jerseys that they sell in the team shop. So I think that was like a really incredible, exciting gesture, and then to reward the fans on top of that with a performance like the one they're putting on right now, that's pretty good. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, hey, Austin, great basketball insights. This is a frickin' hockey podcast, though. You goofball. Why don't you Expelliarmus your way back to the hockey discussion? Well, guess what? Severus Snape. Guess what? Draco Malfoy. Guess what? Moaning Myrtle. Guess what? Hagrid. And I'm out of Harry Potter characters that I care to remember, but they are connected. They just are. The same way all the Harry Potter films are connected, the Utah Mammoth and the Utah Jazz are now connected. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you've been living under a rock or something. The big news, I believe this came out yesterday. Yeah, it did. Smith Entertainment Group, Ryan Smith, you ever heard of that guy, announces new world-class Utah Jazz practice facility in Sandy. Oh my gosh. And look at this rendering. That's really interesting. Oh, and what do you see next to that rendering of the Jazz logo? Well, what the heck? That's the Utah Mammoth logo right next to it. Holy cow. And that sort of looks like the Mammoth's new facility. Are you saying that they're going to essentially share the same space at the Southtown Mall? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I sort of saw this coming when it was announced that Smith Entertainment Group had purchased the Southtown Mall for the purposes of putting a Mammoth practice facility there. I thought to myself, oh, they're going to put the Jazz there too. I thought either Ryan Smith is really passionate about just having a place for his hockey team, and Orange Julius, and Pretzel Maker, and Foot Locker, and Claire's, right? All the great things that make up a mall, or he's got a bigger vision for this space. And it's, sure enough, there it is. I mean, the renderings look incredible. I don't see too many of them here in the press release, but they're all over Twitter and Instagram and all that. So make sure you check them out. But I think it's just like really smart to do. And I could see this area, not only it makes a lot of sense from like a business perspective, because the Mammoth and the Jazz do share a lot of resources in terms of staff and all that good stuff, right? Obviously, they share the Delta Center as well, and which is in downtown Salt Lake City. For those of you who are freaking out that the Jazz are leaving Salt Lake City, I don't think that's the case. I think they have a pretty binding deal with the city where they have to be there for at least the next 30 years, I believe. After 30 years, it's up in the air, and who knows where we'll be by then. I'm sure everything will be, holographic and being run by AI anyway, so it might not matter, right? We could be living in one of the Terminator movies by the end of that deal that Smith Entertainment Group has with Salt Lake City. But and I'll just note this, while we're on the discussion of people being worried that the Jazz are leaving Salt Lake, I saw some hubbub that, people were upset that they were moving out of their somewhat new practice facility that is it's like 13th South and like west of the freeway. That place, those of you who are upset about it have probably never been there. And it's because it's really hard to get to, even though it's like kind of by downtown, like getting off that freeway. And then there's this weird light you have to go to. You have to change lanes really quick to get to that facility. It's tough to get to. It is not open to the public in any way either. So it's not something that is necessarily a shared community resource. I do see that being the case with this facility. I think this will probably, definitely will be the Jazz's home away from home, right? I'm sure the players will fill a lot of their time there, with the same idea that went into the Mammoth practice facility. You can see a lot of the same design ideas that went into both. They're going to maybe have a long table for everybody to sit at. The locker room was pretty much the same shape as the Mammoth locker room too. But I do see this kind of being a place where maybe we'll see some junior Jazz tournaments, maybe some Jazz Bantam basketball tournaments as well. I see this being a lot more open to the community than the current Zions Bank basketball campus near downtown Salt Lake City. And I got to tell you, I think both teams will really benefit from being next to each other. I think it's kind of fun to see Jazz guys sitting courtside, or I should say rinkside, with Ryan Smith during Mammoth games, and vice versa, seeing Mammoth guys sit courtside for Jazz games. I think it kind of adds to the allure of being in the Utah program, being in an SEG program, being treated the way they are. Like, hey, you want to go to the Jazz game tonight? You want something to do? Yeah, we're on the floor. We're there. We're superstars here, baby. We're hockey players. We're sitting courtside. This is crazy. I think that's fun. And I'll tell you who really benefits from this, from being the same neighborhood, from being neighbors, I guess you'd say, is the Jazz. I think this is really good for the Utah Jazz. I think there's a lot that the team can learn from hockey culture, right? I remember a story last year. Will Hardy was just amazed when Mikhail Sergachev took a puck to the side of the head when the team was up 6-1 in one of the games early on. And I remember that was kind of a story. Like, he showed it to the Jazz players. He's like, this is what sacrifice and what teamwork looks like. And I think there's they'll have more moments like that where there's that synergy, that working towards a shared vision, which is bringing Utah its first ever professional sports championship. Sorry, I'm not counting Real Salt Lake's win in 2009. You can get mad at me if you want. I'm not counting it. But I think that this, from a collaborative sense and from like exchanging of resources and ideas, this is like a home run. And like I said, I think this will be used in a very community-focused way, much the same way that we've been told the Mammoth facility will be used, for the youth hockey scene and for the adult hockey scene when that opens up later this winter. So a lot of exciting things are happening. The Jazz right now, just to give another update, have lost a little bit of their lead. They're going to start the fourth quarter up 108-80 to the Clippers. And I'm going to see if I can catch the end of the game. Let's wrap it up here, guys. Thank you for tuning in to SLC Puck. Make sure you check out slcpuck.com for more on spooky season. Follow me at SLC Puck on social media. Buy some merch. Go to bigtuskenergy.com. What else? I don't know. Just be kind. Be safe. And we'll talk to you later.